Hi everyone, how you doing?
Hello.
All right, good to see you. Right, we're back. Tales of the PowerAge, and look, we pre-record these shows, but something amazing's happened today. And what's amazing is that AC/DC are back. Apparently, should hear officially tomorrow, but they're back. So look out for more of that. Anyway, we are today taking you back all the way to 1987, and I know it's hard to believe that we were alive in 1987. Looking at how well we
so young.
But that's when we're taking you back to. And we're taking you back to our second instalment of Monsters of Rock. Monsters of Rock from Donington, 1987. And a couple of us also went to Pforzheim in Germany as well on some far-flung expedition to see how the Germans did it versus the Brits. And we'll tell you a little bit about that as well. But look, it was a fantastic festival, 75,000 there on the day. Kicked off by Cinderella, W.A.S.P, Anthrax, Metallica, Homecoming, well, almost Homecoming. I know they're from the States, but it felt like this was their home after the tragic death of Cliff Burton. Then Dio, and then weirdly, we all thought at the time, Bon Jovi. But we're going to talk a little bit more about that as we go through this podcast. So let's kick off with the actual festival itself and how we got there. So, Jam, I'm going to come to you first because we went on that famous coach again from High Wycombe. So, over to you.
Yeah, it was it's my third Donington, obviously. We're getting a bit of a veteran at this stage. We've hit 17 years of age, that sort of age, most of us. And getting the bus for the second year running. And for me, it's a bit of a situation here because obviously so many bands that emanated in metal, especially from Britain. Yet we were looking at, I believe, the first all-American lineup. So all-American.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which at the time it's like, wow, what there was some comments, what's going on? But when you looked at the quality of the acts that were coming, it was quite a biggie. But yeah, for me, getting the bus again, I was really excited, really looking forward to this one. The bands were all very much. They're all on point. They're all very up there and really, really coming to the fore.
Jam, there was a lot of controversy about Bon Jovi headlining at the time, wasn't there? Because it was only a couple of years earlier they'd supported Kiss, and were they worthy of headlining Monsters of Rock?
There were a lot of jokes saying, for instance, Ozzy was special guest in '84. He rocked the place, and then he came back and headlined 2 years later. Bon Jovi were special guests, wasn't it, in '85? And they then came back 2 years later. And a lot of people were looking and saying, oh, is that how it's going to work? They get them in and a couple of years later. So there was all that sort of thing. But it made good chat, didn't it, at the time?
Yeah. Were Marillion special guests in '85? I thought they were the second last one.
Jovi were third.
I think the third on the bill.
Yeah. Do you know what I mean? To then promote them.
I think it was just because they were so fast that they... Yes. Got there, let's face it, Slippery When Wet was one of the biggest albums. But that's it. Yeah, I mean, and also they didn't really have the steady growth of albums. First album just disappeared without a trace, pretty much. Although the Brits bought it a bit because of the Kiss support.
Yeah.
And then back to what we always say on this show, the BBC had a live at Tokyo. Do you remember, Jam?
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
In concert, so we got into it mainly through that, or I did anyway. And seeing.
We were big Bon Jovi. When you consider our love of all things metal, Jovi with the lighter end, we were big. I was a massive Bon Jovi fan.
Yeah, I remember. Right. Yeah. We went to see him in not at Donington, at Hammersmith, didn't we, in '86?
Yeah.
So. Yeah, that was it, November '86. But the second album was kind of a letdown as well, wasn't it? Fahrenheit.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is they didn't have the step up. It was kind of okay, bang. And then no one could realistically argue with Slippery When Wet. It was just massive and huge hit singles. They did hit all the metrics to be a headliner. It was just kind of like, really? Wow.
Yeah.
So
this caught them at the end. This was them at the very end of that cycle, wasn't it?
Yeah. Before they did New Jersey.
And I'm sure we'll come on to that when we look at their set and that, and when we talk.
But look at those darling cherubs.
Yeah.
Well, I was just going to get to that. So, for those of keen-eyed people watching this, you may notice that there is a slight resemblance, albeit probably about 140 stone lighter from the collective amount of individuals on this call today. But a couple of things I recall from that. If you look at the jeans, not Jammy and Gappies, who were brilliantly embroidered, and that was a big look. They look fantastic. And by the way, Gappy's jeans are even better than that now.
You're not wrong.
But they're fantastic. But a couple of things. I know on my gym, we used to slit the jeans back in the day, and that's all back in trend now. Although that was just with a pair of scissors back in those days. But
mine were just organic.
Do you remember those Anthrax stickers that everyone were giving out? The Among Living Anthrax stickers. So you can see those on the jeans, certainly on mine.
Okay.
Stuff all over them as it came in. But the weather was fairly inclement at the early part of the day.
Yes.
It certainly was. You did get a bit wet. All the photos from that year just look grim, basically.
Yeah. And look at our faces. We could not give
give a shit. No.
We could not give a shit. You said about the handing out the stickers. I don't remember the stickers. All I ever remembered at these events was handing out the little cute packets of 3 fags.
3 fags, yeah.
Some really attractive Marlborough ladies, and you'd just be approaching them and say, "Hiya, we're 17 with these beautiful models, these glamorous ladies." And not only are they glamorous, and you're talking to a lovely glamorous lady, but they've got free cigarettes. Would you like? Yes, thank you kindly. Just going backwards, forwards.
And I'll take them and give them to you boys.
Yeah, that's like you, Gav. Go get some more. Yeah.
Gav had never smoked a cigarette up until that point.
That's right, yeah.
So anyway, so there you are. There's the ticket as well, which looks great. I actually lost mine. Heart was sponsoring it. And do you know what? I don't actually remember a beer up until that point being the primary beer in the festival. It was very much your own, wasn't it, up until then? And there were a couple of bars on hand for that one. So yeah, inclement early on. The weather got a bit better as the day went on, and then rained again from memory when Bon Jovi were on later in the evening. So should we go on to the first band? Hang on, no,
it's got a bit of memorabilia.
So apologies for that. There's the program. There's a program behind me as well. You can just see it all the other way. Can't get used to this. So just behind me there's a program. Gav's got one, and inside we've both got one of them. A pop-up Dio.
A little pop-up Dio, life size.
Dio. Life size.
A little pop-up Dio because
he looks great, doesn't he? I mean, look at the clobber he's got on.
He loves. Well, he had all them dragons and shit. He had to have the decent gear on. It's true.
It's a good program, and then they kept this format, didn't they? Of this kind of
they did
for the next few years.
So so nice stuff. Nice T-shirts as well. I got a Raglan on the day, which didn't have the bands on, just had Monsters of Rock on the back.
And they spelled Donington correctly on the poster. They did.
Yeah.
That later.
Yeah, we'll get to that. So if we can go on to the next slide, Gavin, we'll talk about Cinderella. So Gappy, we'll come to you on Cinderella.
For me, Cinderella, I was really, really looking forward to them. I didn't buy the album. I think all you guys had got the album. But I was really looking forward to it. I home taped it from one of my friends who didn't go to the gig. I was really looking forward to them. But the main thing for me about watching them, Gypsy Road is one of my favourite songs of all time. And when they played that live, it was absolutely brilliant. I don't remember too much about the rest of it, to be fair, but that was great. But Gypsy Road was new. Yeah, that's right. You wouldn't have known that at the time. Nobody had ever heard that one at the time. So, and we all loved that. Yeah, it's a great song. And Tom Kiffer, look at him. He looks like a cherub, but he had the voice of Brian Johnson. Yeah. Amazing. Loads of different voices, didn't he? He could change voice. But they were very unusual in that kind of, if they were labelled as kind of just glam rock or glam metal, because they were much better than that, in my opinion. They were. They weren't like a Poison band or anything like that. Yeah. They had the chops. They had the songs. Yeah.
I mean, for me,
arguably got better with the second album as well. Yeah, indeed.
But for me, this first record, I bought this when it came out, and I must have heard it on the rock show, so I heard something. I love this band, and for me,
going on up the top there.
Somebody Save Me and Push Push were the 2 tracks for me that I played on repeat a lot. And I know I had a video that had the actual MTV type videos, and they were awesome. So I used to play this a lot. It was the first Donington I was going to that I actually needed to see the first band on. The couple of Doningtons previously, I wasn't that fussed. They didn't really do it for me. But this was actually As I say, 5 out of the 6 bands I needed to see at this Donington, which was a high for me, as a high count.
Yeah, if you rated them, and I guess we could do that, marks out of 10 and see where the Doningtons come. This would be a high one for me.
Yeah, for the bands, because you've got to cover for all tastes.
Yeah,
and I think the fact that we were totally into even as the bands come on, your Anthrax and your Tally and your Bon Jovi, your Cinderella, it covered a lot of. We
covered all the bases of metal, didn't it? Your glam metal and your thrash and
Okay,
well,
excellent.
According to the program, John Bon Jovi had a lot to do with putting the bands together.
That's right.
On the same label, weren't they? They were stablemates, weren't they?
Yeah.
I don't think he ripped them off as much as Skid Row, though.
Allegedly.
Not that you'll ever watch this, but just in case.
Probably over it by now.
So if we could go to so it was a real jump, wasn't there, from Cinderella then to W.A.S.P. And W.A.S.P. had been they'd always been pretty popular in the UK, and interestingly,
they played 2 fewer songs.
Yeah, exactly.
Something's changed then.
They did a lot of messing around with naked women, and
the most famous
thing. That's the one thing I remember about W.A.S.P. is obviously we'd never seen a semi-naked woman, probably never seen one at all. But we actually absolutely unbelievable how they got away with that, even in 1987.
Anyway, they did, and one of their songs was actually banned by their own record label. It was number 5. I don't need to say which one it was. I'm sure you're all aware of that song. It was on Music for Nations, whereas the band were on Capitol. So let's just cast our mind back to the day, and they certainly were out to try and shock rock. So, Gav, what were your memories, apart from the young lady strung up with a hood over her head?
I remember them being really good, and I was getting into them at this point in time. And I think I'm not sure when, but the live album came out around that time, and I saw them at Hammersmith around that time as well. And I thought they were great. I mean, they've definitely got the sing-along songs, haven't they? Yeah. You know, the chanting stuff. Yeah, really good. Managed around this time also by Rod Smallwood.
Yeah,
he got them into the kind of Sanctuary stable and was managing them for 2 or 3 albums, I think. So, and they supported Iron Maiden in the States, I think.
Do you know, funnily enough, the other night, Gav, when we saw them the other night, they put the "With Thanks To." Rod Smallwood was the first one.
Oh, really?
So I don't know if he's still anything to do with it.
Maybe he is still involved.
I only know that because he took a video and saw it afterwards.
That's interesting. I missed that.
So, Gaps, what were your memories of W.A.S.P?
Mainly the lady. Unfortunately, I was a bit of a ladies' man at the time, and I remember seeing that lady on the stage. She certainly did it for me, shall I say?
Still wished he had a zoom on his camera at the time.
Well, that was on Zoom. I couldn't get any nearer to the front. It's never been so difficult to get to the front row as it was for W.A.S.P on that afternoon.
He took that from back at the tyre on the track. He's got a great camera.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah, you had the counterbalance of her with Blackie's arse. So it's all give and take.
The antidote.
Am I wrong? Did she have blood coming out of her at some point? Or
I think he slit her throat.
Oh, that's it. Yeah.
Actually, do.
Figuratively.
All
you young uns out there, he didn't actually slit her throat.
It's theatre. It's musical theatre.
Yeah, I've got a pick. There's a nice Blackie pick, the W.A.S.P pick there. And I actually managed to, we went to see him the other night, and I've got another Blackie pick the other night.
No, that's cool.
Nice.
Which is a bit of a result. To go with the camphor I've got. So that was W.A.S.P, and then we moved from W.A.S.P on to a band we were all massively into and absolutely dying to see. Now you have to remember at the time with this band, they were cool, right? Because they were wearing Bermuda shorts. They were really tapping into the teenage metal scene. and they were really metal, and they were good fun, and they had loads of energy, and they were bloody brilliant live as well. Let's be honest. So
they really were, yeah.
Apologies for those photographs; they were mine. I was right down the front in the mix. I got pulled out of the crush, and then promptly got pulled over the barrier, ran out to the side, and then straight back into it again for the rest of the show. But they were great. So Gav, what were you? I mean, I know you loved Anthrax at the time. What were your memories from that?
Yeah, I thought they were brilliant. Obviously, Charlie Benante is just pretty much top 5 best drummers in my opinion. Still is, and obviously he's doing a stint now with Pantera just to prove his chops. So yeah, it was this era is my favourite era for Anthrax for sure, and we saw them shortly after this as well. In November, Oxford.
November in Oxford,
yeah, and then Hammersmith as well. Yeah, so we'd had a belly full of. Well, me and Dill saw them. No, we didn't see them in Germany, did we? They didn't do the German one, but yeah, so we saw them 3 times in 8 weeks.
They did the German one the year after.
The year after,
we did see them in Germany, but we saw them in '88. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, the thing is, people put them and Metallica together, but they couldn't be more different in their kind of styles, you know. So they were both high energy, you know, speed, thrash, metal.
I'd always say that Anthrax were more of a thrash band than Metallica were.
Yeah, but you know, a layman would put them in the same category, but they're so different, and they complemented each other brilliantly, you know. So just the same as they did on the tour the year before in the UK. But yeah, I thought this was pretty good.
You look at the set list. Everything's great on there. I mean, the crowd sing along to "God Save the Queen" is what I remember mainly about the gig.
They did try and make it a little different.
The worst song that they played, but the rest of the songs on that is just immense. Medusa's my favourite song off "Spreading the Disease." And the first 4 songs are just absolutely mental. And AIR to finish, unbelievable.
And Among the Living, what a great album.
But for me, around this time, Anthrax were a massive part of our lives. And as you said, they're making it big time. They were the skater boys and all that. They were cool. It's the only word for it.
They were very cool, totally different.
Cool.
Even I got a pair of Bermuda shorts.
Yeah, but it's massive crossover on it. But for me, Madhouse, I love the song, and I don't know if you guys recall my 18th birthday party, which was in a local village hall. Shortly after this, I was allowed 5 actual metal songs, so it was family and all that sort of thing for my birthday because they were going to bring the big checks. And one of the 5 tracks was Madhouse, and I remember I think it was one Early Doors. And as we all know, the beginning to Madhouse, the hysterical last, just such a great start. And I remember and it's just so metal.
That's probably when all the adults sat down and all us went into the middle and sort of went mental.
Danced. And then all the girls are invited because you invite loads of girls and you go, why are they doing that? What's wrong with them? There's like 20 boys. But yeah, so they were massive to us. But coming on to the actual show, this for me, this was a game changer for me. Because when I bought the T-shirt, great T-shirt. I mean, I still have the T-shirt. I still have the T-shirt just down here.
You're not going to see a lot of this now, but this is the actual T-shirt.
I'll pick you up.
It used to be in colour.
It is something of a rag.
It's
just not written on it. And then on the back, it's just got the boys and it's got Mosh It Up written on there.
Oh, it's mental. That's so good.
It's not in great nick, but when they came on, there's a lot of expectation. There's a lot of expectation when they came on. And for me, this is a game changer. It scared the life out of me. We were about 100 yards back and they came on and we started going forward. The crowd started surging forward. And I was with Gav. I was with you, yeah? You remember? And we moved forward, go, holy shit. And you'd seen the weather. It was wet. It was muddy. And we were just slipping. And we were moving and we couldn't stop. And
we both went down, didn't we?
Well, we were both trying to keep each other up. I don't know if any of the other boys of us, but we're literally, that's like it was literally a crush. We were going and we went forward 10, 20, 30, 40 yards.
It was a precursor to the following year. And the warning signs were there, weren't they? And let's not get into it too much today, but you're right.
When I look back at that set list,
sorry, carry on, Jam.
When I look back at that set list, the first 2 songs, we were still traveling. Gav and I, we were battling to get, because we were in the middle. We weren't to the sides. We were in the middle. We travelled forward a long way, and we were literally both just trying to get to a situation so we could get out. And it took us, I think it's a good definitely two songs. I think it was during Madhouse that we managed to get to the side, literally get to the side, look at each other and go, right, okay, we're okay, we've made it, we're out. We've made it out. And for me, it was an absolute game changer because it was shocking.
It was a bit scary. I mean, I remember being, dragging each other up, but other people dragging us up as well.
Because this
only needing another surge or something, it would have been terrifying.
But that for me, that's I know making, but then I was to the side. I stopped being centre because we had no control. And any youngsters that are watching this, there's all sorts of things in place, and I'm sure we'll cover it in a future pod for what awfully happened in '88. There's a lot of things different now. You do not have. It was just a field back then. There was a muddy field at the front, and there was just a great big space. But so we made it out to the side, didn't we, Gav? And from there, we took a breath.
And I think where they put the stage changed as well. I think this was kind of
the bottom of the hill.
Yeah, exactly. Well, strangely, you'd think you'd put it higher up, but you slid as well.
Bizarrely, one of the main things I remember before Anthrax actually came on, and I think it may have been between Cinderella and Anthrax, we had the Bailey brothers for the first time this year.
Yes.
Because Tommy Vance had been kicked out for I can't remember why. And we had the Bailey brothers, and they decided in their infinite wisdom that they were going to play an Anthrax song before Anthrax actually came on. Please tell me I'm wrong, but I'm almost certain this is true. And I'm sure they played I Am the Law, or they played the first few chords of it. And of course, you never ever play a song by the band that's coming on before they come on, and it got taken off straight away. And that's an abiding memory for me. We all thought, what a bunch of idiots to try and do that before a band comes on.
I don't think the Wigs helped them either.
Comment if you think that's wrong, but I'm sure that is true.
Yeah. Well, they lost credibility.
Stick it in the comments.
Yeah. They lost credibility with the Wigs.
But with the actual for the band.
Yeah, the thing is, they came back the next year. I can't believe they made it to the next year after doing that.
I think they're still going, actually, bizarrely. I'm sure I looked at that a couple of months ago, and they're still doing rock clubs and stuff.
They're in here. They are in here.
Yeah, they are. Look at those
like kids.
Absolutely diabolical. Anyway, on that note, let's move
on. As far as the set, they played 5 off of a mung, and it was just amazing. But it was brilliant. They were awesome. They didn't let down.
Let's move to the next one, Gav, which of course we'd all been desperately waiting for, and this was the first. We were all massively into Metallica, right? And I think this was the one that we'd all been really excited about. There were some great bands on the bill, but we were really excited about this.
It couldn't have been cooler at the time.
And they looked fantastic. They sounded brilliant. They came out to destroy or seek and destroy the audience, and they didn't disappoint on the day. My one abiding memory of the day is Bon Jovi arriving in the middle of Metallica's set with his helicopter flying over the top of the crowd.
Oh, yeah, I now remember that.
It seemed to spur the band on to be even more brutal and I guess more powerful for the remainder of the set. Now, I can't remember what. You could probably read up and find out.
But allegedly, that caused some. That was quite falling out.
It did cause quite a bit of controversy because it was like putting them off, showing off that they were headlining allegedly. But look, in my mind, the Metallica were brilliant. I bought 2 T-shirts that day. I bought an Anthrax, the same one as you, Jam, and I also bought a Metallica crash course in brain surgery. Which
so did I.
And I managed to find a reprint of that through the Metallica store about a year ago. So I went from time to time. The white one, which is great. So.
I love that T-shirt.
Nice.
And when they came out, they play the Gav will probably correct me. They play that like Western theme. It's I can't think of his name. He's an Italian guy, isn't it? Where they do the
Enrico Morricone.
That's right. They come out and play that, and then straight into Creeping Death. Oh my! You've never heard anything like it. It was sensational. So
first time we've seen that, wasn't it? I'm fairly sure.
Yeah. So
what am I talking about? First time we've seen Metallica.
Yeah, first time we've seen Metallica for sure. Yeah. So, Gaps, do you remember? You got any thoughts around that day?
One of the first Jason.
There's not. Unfortunately for me, there's not much about the Metallica set I can remember. even looking at those pictures, I don't know whether I went off to the toilet or what I was doing, but I must have seen them, but I can't remember anything about them at all.
Probably
Sorry.
thinking of the lady from the W.A.S.P set.
Probably was. You're probably right.
In the trees. So, Gav, what do you
I definitely watched them for at least a few of their songs, but unfortunately, I don't remember.
Cool. Gav?
I just remember the look being very different from what I was expecting, because when I'd seen the Master of Puppets stage set and it was all, the gravestones and the crosses and it's all dark and yet not very long after that, we've got this kind of cartoony skateboard type pus head graphics. So I was quite surprised how they looked. But yeah, they still sounded absolutely immense. Yeah, I loved it. Yeah, I got one of those as well. Not from here. Must have been Hammersmith. But yeah, again, the set list is pretty much in the prime. I'm not sure about Phantom Lord so much, but
no, it jumps out. That actually jumps out in a negative way.
It's like Phantom Lord, yeah.
I was like Phantom Lord, but we got a bit of surprise for you when we touch on Germany in a bit, because that was one of the reasons that Gav and I booked Germany to go and see Metallica again, because we were so keen to go and see them.
Yeah.
Brilliant. So, Jam, what were your memories of Metallica that day? I mean, some nice picks there.
One of you earlier said how brutal. It was just so metal. Whereas Anthrax, obviously, these were it's just brilliant. The way they come out is so fast, so metal, so awesome. When you look at that set list, it blows you away. Love Leper Messiah so much. It's just so in your face. I just love it. But having said that, you got Welcome Home and Fade to Black in there. I mean, it's got it all. I love Creep of Death and Who the Bell Tolls, we've mentioned before. We went on to play in Boozer, obviously. But Last Caress, Am I Evil and Battery?
Battery is just ridiculous. Isn't it?
You won't have a brain left after that lot.
Just before that, I'm just listing the songs, sorry, but it's just immense. I loved Last Caress. Am I Evil is just my very favourite. Caught it by
Gav, the way you've got it there with the 8 and the 9 with a bit of a gap, did they go off after Master of Puppets and then come back?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Really?
Briefly, though, I think.
Yeah, very. Yeah, I mean, that was the thing, actually. We haven't mentioned the album that this was supporting, not on this one anyway. The EP. Yeah. So Last Caress was on that. Apparently, the record company wanted them to play the whole EP to promote it, and they said, "Nah, we're not going to be doing that." So that was their little nod to trying to sell product for the day.
That's pretty. I didn't know that. I wonder how long that discussion lasted.
Yeah, and all the backdrops, obviously.
Yeah.
At least they're not with the backdrop.
They were quite famous at this point in time, playing everything super fast and super aggressive, because they still were, in a
young
funk of post Cliff Burton, I think, and just superly aggressive.
But they look great.
Nobody had a problem with that, as far as I was concerned.
I love Jason's strides. Look at Jason's kecks; they look fucking awesome.
I've got a photo of that somewhere. I don't know where these photos came from, but I've got loads of them.
They're yours.
I wish. No, they're not.
They're not Ross Halford.
Back in the day, they're not my copyright people, but back in the day, you used to be able to buy photos of Sounds and Kerrang.
Yeah.
So I've got loads. I've got loads of Whitesnake, Judas Priest. Tons.
You can spot the ones that aren't so good, which were mine.
Yeah.
It's
a delicate blend of both there.
Well, I own the copyright to those.
Page and head in front.
Yes. Yeah, for me personally, I took a bit of a breath after Anthrax and Metallica, which takes us on to the next band, which was Dio. And we'd all been to see Dio a couple of years earlier at Oxford. And ironically, that was a strange gig, because Queensryche, was it Queensryche supported? I think it was, wasn't it?
It was in '84. It was,
that was a bit odd. And they only played about 10 songs at Oxford when they played that night. And it was good. But
you saw him on the Dream Evil tour as well. Well, I did it.
We saw the Hammersmith with Keel supporting.
That's
the
it.
program. Yeah. The program on sale that night, going back, was from the first album, and not because it was Last in Line actually that we saw them on.
Yeah.
That's right. That's why I've got a Holy Diver program.
It was Holy Diver program they were selling. So it all seemed a bit lastminute.com cheapskate.
Yeah.
So maybe that was one of the things that led me to sort of take a breath after the couple of hours of moshing with Anthrax and Metallica and the intensity of that.
Yeah, I'm with you, Dio. I don't remember anything about Dio at all.
But to a couple of the guys' points around the crush and everything, I pulled out for Anthrax, and so I went back, took breath, and I stood further back when Dio was on. I'm not saying I didn't enjoy it; I love it. I mean, Stand Up and Shout, Neon Nights. I mean, they're some of my favourite songs.
They're great. The first 3 tracks are great, aren't they? Look at that, it's brilliant.
Last in Line, Heaven and Hell, Holy Diver. I mean, some brilliant songs. So, yeah, enjoyed it, but certainly wouldn't be the one that I took away as a standout for the day. So I went and took a break after the 2 bands that had been on that preceded Dio. So has anyone got any memories? Gav, can you remember Dio? Can
I just say something about just looking at the crowd in that picture? And for anyone who goes to download now, you just don't get. I mean, forget about the front of the stage. What you don't see in these pictures is anyone sitting on seat. And if you go to download these days, you have to wind your way in and out of these people who are sitting on seats, which is a bit annoying.
Because it was always crushed, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That's
so, Gav, what do you remember? I've got that as well. Yeah.
So this came out 3 or 4 years ago, maybe, and it's got both the Donington sets. So it's got 83 and 87, and there's a few songs omitted from here. Like the album doesn't have Stand Up and Shout on it. I don't know if there were sound problems for the first song, but and then there's another one, strange inclusion there with a Marillion denim. Which is quite cool. But yeah, I thought Dio was a smart character, wasn't he? I mean, calling on his Black Sabbath, Rainbow.
Dio or Wendy Dio?
Well, they were a team.
Controversially.
But, if you're going to get
if I remember the
crowd on your side, then play Sabbath and Rainbow as well as Dio. I mean, that's brilliant, isn't it?
Yeah.
But am I right in thinking that none of us really liked Craig Goldie?
I liked his hair.
Yeah, his hair was good, but we didn't really like his widdly guitar playing.
Well, how do you follow Vivian?
That's what I was about to say.
Exactly.
It made no sense at all to the normal me going, what's that all about? So yeah, I never give the bloke a chance. I'm not going to lie.
No, we didn't, did we? We didn't like him at all.
Play Vivian Campbell? Well, I don't like him. He's shit. Easy in those days.
I don't like Claude Schnell while we're at it.
Oh, he was on the side of the stage, though. Was he on stage in this one? He was probably still on the side, wasn't he?
No, he gets the full photo treatment, worse luck.
I didn't agree with any keyboards in anything except for Marillion at the time for me.
Yeah, he does. Yeah. Look at that.
Look at that tash. It's the best tash in metal.
That's the best tash.
I mean, Dio for me on this one. I mean, I remember I went back, Dill. I was back there. I was back.
Yeah.
Maybe I was with you, Jam, because I went back.
I remember being at the back and just taking it easy. For me, we were into the realms where you had a drum solo. I wasn't a fan of drum solo. I didn't even really like guitar solos.
Even Gav's not a fan of drum solos.
Probably why I've never got
I have a drum solo. It's just you're just taking away a song.
However,
you're giving the singer a rest, basically.
Yeah. I was going to pay loads of attention because I was a Dio Sabbath person. Never liked any of the Sabbath stuff that had Ozzy in it. Loved the Mob Rules and Heaven Hell. So I really liked Dio. Then he slipped in Rainbow Songs, which again always to me seemed to go on a bit for me. Weren't my cup of tea, but the Dio stuff he did, I loved, and he went down really well. And there's still I know guys now.
This was probably his peak commercially, wasn't it?
Yeah, and those 83 and 83 and 87 performances that have got they're on decent vinyl and that now as well are going down a storm, and I know a lot of people are really into them at the moment. So
what a lot of people don't realise at this time, I think it was 87 when we went. I think he was 45 years old at this point.
Yeah, amazing.
Yeah, well,
he was very, very old compared to everyone else.
Yeah. God. Anyway, he did a good job. He went on all right.
He played it well.
We love Dio, and he's made a couple of cameos on films post that. So he's all good in my book. So let's go.
big fans.
Let's move on to the headliner, who was Bon Jovi on the day. And as I've already mentioned, there'd been a bit of controversy before. I say he, it's the band. They've been, that probably sums it up in some respects. That the band had been booked to headline the show, so there was quite a lot of controversy prior to that, and a bit of controversy on the day when they were flying the helicopter over the top of Metallica's set, because maybe they were the ones that they were most worried about on the day. Funnily enough, I did actually end up back down the front for Bon Jovi. I was really interested. It was the first time I'd seen them. I hadn't been to Kiss, like a couple of the guys here, and seen them support Kiss at Wembley Arena. And I enjoy it. You can't not enjoy it, can you? They're good sing-along.
They do, didn't you?
No, I didn't. No, good.
Oh, okay.
Good sing-along songs. It was raining again, but do you know what? It was good. I remember enjoying it. I think I had 2 pictures left.
They were fucking brilliant. Honestly, I really thought they were great.
I had 2 pictures left on my phone. Took those. I've got one of Richie Sambora there on the right.
On your phone?
Oh,
yes.
no. Oh, my
God.
Time traveller.
Sorry, guys. Here's Jam. So, yeah, I managed to take 2 pictures of them just to prove I was there. There's. If you open up that picture, which you can't see on here, there's a bouncer, a Shosek bouncer in front where he looks absolutely mortified with the 75,000 people in front of him screaming, "You give love a bad name." But anyway, they were good. They were good fun, weren't they? It was good, and then they were triumphant in the end. I think. I don't think there were any complaints come the end of the day. So, Gav, what do you remember from that?
Well, it says in the program, I was reading it earlier, that they were trying to give a distinctly different set list to what they've been doing supporting the Slippery When Wet album in the rest of the world, because he recognized that the Brits caught onto them early and did know songs like Tokyo Road, whereas they weren't playing some of those early songs in other markets because they weren't popular. It was all about the latest album, so that was good.
Considering
the best song on that album, so
considering they played 8 out of the 10 tracks off of the Slippery album,
maybe they did covers. I don't know, but I mean,
it's fine. But they literally. When I saw it, I thought, God, because I don't remember them playing so many. I thought, because it's a great record. They played 8 out of 10. I was thinking, what didn't they play? Social Disease and Without Love. I looked it up and I thought,
good one. Is that all?
They're decent songs. They're still it's a strong set list. So, but yeah.
And then, as it says there, they did plenty of kind of jammy encores with loads of guys coming in and singing. That there you can see Paul Stanley and Dee Snider.
One of the main things I remember about it was when
Bruce Dickinson came on as well.
Dee Snider came on, and Bruce Dickinson says, "See you next year." At the end of the song.
Yeah, and he wasn't supposed to say that.
No, I know.
So that was brilliant. Typical Bruce. So yeah, I do remember that. I remember seeing all those guys having a whale of a time, and that they were good. I don't think they failed as a headliner at all. I thought they were great.
No, I really enjoyed them.
Whoever did the spelling for the staging got the Donington spelt wrong officially.
Yeah,
as you can see on that picture there, there's been lots of talk about that, but apparently you can spell it 2 ways, and some of the road signs have it spelt like that. But not from a Monsters of Rock point of view. It's always just with 1 N, not 2 N's.
I bought an Aussie T-shirt in 2018, and it was spelt wrong.
Was that a dodgy one?
Of course it was.
Proper one. Dodgy.
Oh, okay. You buy dodgy T-shirts?
Well, I used to, not anymore.
No, not in 2018.
Leo one, and it lasted about 3 weeks, and then just fell apart.
For me, just on the Jovi thing, I was reading up on this, and Jovi himself said he was shot to bits when it come round to this. He was on steroids and all sorts to get him up on that stage. He was broken. Different things I've read here and there saying, hey, they wanted to play this show. It was a massive show, but they needed a break. They'd been on the road forever. And I remember seeing.
He had a beard and everything.
I remember seeing a video. You saw a video. You saw some videos of him, obviously at the outset with "You Give Love a Bad Name" and "Living on a Prayer." Iconic videos that we see and love. And then you saw him on top of the Pops doing "Never Say Goodbye." He looked more like Bob Dylan than Bon Jovi. And
that's true, actually. Yeah, because he had his hair kind of tied up and the beard.
It's the hair. It started.
Stanley copying our Metal Gens, Jam.
Yeah, well, I'm guessing so. But yeah, that's what I read up. He struggled to get through it. For me personally, I love this record. I love Bon Jovi. I don't like. This is again simple. I don't really like them now. I don't like it when they jam and stuff and do covers. Not when I want to hear. I've got loads of Bon Jovi songs I want to hear. I don't want to hear this American man and this song and that song. But again, that's just me. So I remember it going on a bit because I was like, there's loads of Jovi songs. I'm like, get it back on. I'm playing more Jovi.
I agree with that. 3 songs a bit much.
3 songs at the end that nobody really knew.
We all understood why Bruce Dickinson had to come on stage at the very end. Because please correct me. I'm sure one of you is going to tell me.
To bring Dee Snider and Paul Stanley all the way from America just to go on the stage.
It's the American Day. Was Bruce the only Englishman on the stage other than the Bailey Brothers? Anyone else? I did a little bit of research. I couldn't find another Englishman. I found a Scotsman.
I don't think the Bailey Brothers ever went on stage, but
I hope not. Otherwise, they'd have got pelted to bits. But yeah, Bruce, please correct me in the comments. I think Bruce was the only Englishman performing that day, and there was a Scotsman, which I'm sure you all know who that was.
Jimmy Bain.
Well done, Gav. I thought you'd get that. Yeah.
God rest his soul.
Yes. No, exactly.
Yeah. Okay. So look, that was Bon Jovi. So big thumbs up. That went all right. The gig had gone okay, and then I think it was the following week, Gav, that we got on a coach and headed off to Germany. So this
we went to Mannheim.
You put your trousers on, Dill, because you got your pants on in that picture.
It's a lovely pair of legs, though, isn't it?
That's a fantastic picture.
Yeah. And that's my mum, by the way. My mum. Have you noticed in the?
Probably made that bloody flag for you, didn't she?
She did, yeah. So she made the flag, and she thought she'd. And I've got an Anthrax T-shirt. You can't see it. It's the old blue Anthrax T-shirt, which I put on, and that was my pathetic attempt at a pair of Bermuda.
Oh, of course it is.
But do you know the thing you're missing? Look at those retro.
Very professional picture of Gav holding a telescope.
Yeah,
there's a story behind that.
There is, yeah. So look, let's get to a bit of Germany just quickly then. So we met. Was it Regent's Park? I think my mum and dad dropped us off, Gav.
Regent's or Victoria, I can't remember.
Anyway, one of those, and it was the time of
dad did one of them because we did the following year as well. But yeah,
we got on the coach, and it was the time of our life at the time. We only stayed away for 2 nights, but it felt like a month away. It was brilliant.
I think we felt a bit young. I did anyway.
You certainly looked young in that picture.
Yeah. I remember we were all piled on the coach, and we were surrounded by people that were obviously set on having a party from the minute they got on the coach. And I remember that the coach pulled up to get onto one of the main roads out of the park, braked suddenly, and under our feet came a torrent of stuff and Jack Daniels bottles and all this kind of stuff. We hadn't even left the bloody car park yet, and all these bottles were flying down. So that was really how it went for the rest of the trip. But yeah, we stayed in Mannheim, which was near Pforzheim, as I recall, and they had a slightly different lineup, as you can see from the poster there. So Pretty Maids. I'm not sure if they made it. Did they? Pretty Maids.
But I can't remember.
They had Ratt and Deep Purple on that.
Ratt played, yeah. So that's Robin Crosby.
And Helloween was a highlight for me because I loved them anyway. And obviously, in between the songs, they were speaking German, so that was really cool.
In Germany and being German.
Yeah, but it was really cool. I loved it. Obviously, they would. Why wouldn't they? But it's obviously so used to hearing them speak English. And then there's the Ross Halfin photographer story. Dill, do you want to tell that?
Well, yeah. So we taken the Oxford Moshers flag, and we were desperate to see Metallica again. Obviously,
we were down the
front, and we've been whining all day that the beer wasn't strong enough, and there couldn't have been enough alcohol in it, and it must have been because it probably didn't have any chemicals in it because it tasted quite nice. That was probably something to do with it. But anyway, Ross Halfin was photographing Metallica, and he got a picture of us because we were literally on the barrier. We were right down the front.
Yeah, we went Ross and waved the flag, and he turned around and took a photo of us on the barrier.
And we had Kirk. We were stood right in front of Kirk Hammett, who was sticking his middle finger up at us with a big smile on his face.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
we just thought it was great. We'd been recognised by Metallica, and we were, oh my God, we were Steve Knees. We were like the most important people in town.
Yeah, that telescope photo is me holding the poster, which you see there, which I've got on my wall now on the ferry. So that's quite cool.
Well done.
What he also doesn't say, underneath his leg is 24 cans of bitter as a 17-year-old had bought travelling back on the boat.
That's true.
So,
and if you look closely, I'm wearing a Monsters of Rock Germany t-shirt, and also in the other one, I'm wearing a Nebworth.
Yeah.
And what jacket are you wearing in that, Gav?
That's your famous Lars Ulrich leather jacket, I think.
Famous Lars, isn't it?
That will be my famous Lars. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I did try and point them out, but can you see my retro Nikes there? They'd be worth about 400 quid now if I'd kept those. Look at them. Look sharp, don't they?
That's like your mum's slippers.
Yeah, my mum, bless her. Right.
Epic.
She'll be watching this, Gappy, so you need to be careful. Anyway, then we had Deep Purple headlining. I just remember the lasers. It was fantastic. It was a good show. Everything went well. We got back to the hotel. We stayed in a Novotel. We've got a couple of pics of that, but they're probably a bit boring. I want to see those. And then got the coach back. We had a great time. We got on well with the locals. I think our coach broke down at one point, from memory as well. Insult to him.
Either that or the following year.
Yeah, I can't remember, one of those trips. We got back. Notting Hill Carnival was going on. I remember going over the A40 flyover and all that carry on going on, but thinking proud as punch we'd been to Monsters of Rock in Germany. And of course, that was before the day of phones and any of that nonsense. So it was just get your photos done and tell everyone how great it was. It was brilliant. And ironically, Gav and I went to see, who did we go and see? It was Black Star Riders, Mike Monroe and Phil Campbell a couple of weeks ago. And some guy that I'm connected with on Twitter, we met.
Oh, yeah.
Also was in Germany on that same coach by the sounds of things. So, Leon, if you're watching, well done, man.
Well done.
So,
was this the first link up Monsters of Rock? Was there one in '86 as well in Germany? And
that's a good question.
I don't know.
There was one in '86, yeah, because Scorpions headlined. Not
we spoke about that in another ep.
Yes, yeah, you're right. Yeah.
How much better the ticket was though compared with the shitty Bon Jovi one we had over here.
Yeah,
it's like embossed. It's lovely.
Best ticket I've ever had in my life, apart from the AC/DC one from Rotterdam, which is just slightly better.
But Deep Purple headlining instead of Bon Jovi. Sorry, I'm just. Is that because Jovi was so big here in the UK, or was it just that they've done?
It could have been a scheduling thing. They could have gone off to Japan or something.
Yeah. But awesome for you guys to get Deep Purple, so you get the best of both worlds. Love it. Fair dues.
So it literally was a week later because it was the 22nd of August in the UK, and then was it? Yeah, is that Sunday? The Sontag, is that Sunday or Saturday? It must be Sunday. Was it? Oh, because it's bank holiday weekend. It was Sunday. It was bank holiday weekend. Is that right? Yeah, because we came back. The Notting Hill Carnival was on the Monday. Anyway, on that bomb, I can't believe how cool that is. That Oxford Mosh's flag. I wish I still had that.
But then, we saw Def Leppard at Hammersmith a week later with Tesla.
Oh, there you go. Bloody hell! Yeah, insane, isn't it? Wow. Absolutely mental. Christ. Not unlike this week, to be fair. That's been a busy week on gigs as well, but we'll save that for another one. Yep. So, look, I hope you've enjoyed that. Please like, subscribe, get involved in the comments. You can find us on Facebook on Tales from the PowerAge or online at www.talesfromthepowerage.com. If you want some merchandise and some really good stuff, some of it comes from San Francisco, apparently. So I might throw the bubble.com merchandise at Tale for the TFTP PowerAge. So if you're into that, let's just get into it as well. I think I've mentioned before, I had a lovely T-shirt and I got the print on the back. So if you want to be one piece and a little bit different, just get one on the back. I hope you've enjoyed that. We have. Speak to you soon. Rock on, guys. Bye.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers, everyone.
Cheers, mate.
Bye.